So we're just starting to share. But if you're out there, good evening, guys.
Hello.
We haven't got everybody logged
So
on
I'm
yet.
going to have a little look.
But there is about 20. Then I'll introduce you. Not just share this now.
Oh, it's coming up as live. That's good.
Here we are. Hi, guys. Just we'll do a sound test that everyone can hear it, right, Elaine? And as we're just sharing the event here.
Hi, Elaine.
Because we did have problems last week with Ian on. Let's see, back to my page, notifications. Start sharing, guys. We've got a really good subject tonight. I can hear you, grand. That's good. Thanks, Elaine. We're just waiting for people to log on because we're a little bit early.
Well, we're throwing the spanner in the works, confusing everyone.
That's the way. Just it's working this week, that's all. Yeah. Hi there, Helen. So share as much as you can, guys, because this is a really good subject tonight. We're talking about anxiety, which has been a big subject over the last 2 years. So share away, invite folk on, because we've got a fantastic guest tonight. We've got the amazing Suz McDonald.
So I've shared it. I'm hoping I've shared it to the right places. Fingers crossed.
Right, share to my page, like post, right? Public post, right? Share, copy a link. I think that's the best way for me, and then I can go into. People
this is a very nice software. I definitely need this software, Derek. This is really nice.
Well, hopefully, as long as it's working and people can hear us, because it sort of stopped.
That's so good because I can see the comments so easily. You try and do it just from Facebook onto like a regular stream. I really struggle with it. This is fab. Love it.
Good stuff. And it's good for us who aren't very tech savvy, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Anything that's easy, eh?
Just sharing it onto my main page. Let's see now. We'll just be 2 sets, guys, because we're a little bit early than planned, just to make sure everything's working tonight.
Right, post. Right, where can I put that? Post. Can't seem to find a way to share it. Oh, wait a minute. Copy the link. Oh, right. Copy link. Let's do this. Pop that across. We are live. Okay.
You've been a while. Mary McFall. Bit drawn breath. Here we go. Some good comments here. Good to catch up with you. Been a while. Ups and downs. Bit of not so much straw. Health all better. Reading would be great. We'll do some readings at the end, Mary. But we're talking about anxiety later on tonight, or the first part of the evening. Then we'll do the usual kind of card pulling because Suz is amazing at pulling cards as well, aren't you, Sue? And you've got some cards and age-old cards.
I love it. I haven't done it for a while.
But first of all, I want to introduce my guest. My second time in it's 3 years, nearly 2 years since we last spoke.
2018, yeah.
You were just over on a visit from Dubai because you were actually working in Dubai.
Yeah, I was. I was there for 22 years.
Yeah. So what is the? I know you had to come over for obvious reasons and COVID and stuff like that. But what was it like working in Dubai in the holistic field that we work in the UK?
It's actually a really big community. You'd be surprised because it's such a melting pot of cultures. It's actually really lovely because everybody shares and exchanges knowledge, and it's just really lovely. I really thoroughly enjoyed my time, working out there and sort of being in that industry. I did all the sound baths and had regular clients. And of course, back in those days, I saw clients in person in my house, but not so much now. You know, the world has changed somewhat.
It certainly has. And did we come back at the beginning of COVID, or when did you actually come back to the UK?
So I moved back July of 2020. So yeah, my husband lost his job and hasn't worked. So it's all down to me now. But that's just because of the industry. There's not much going on in the industries, in the airline industry. So yeah, who knows what will happen going forward. There's a possibility that we might end up back there. But now that I'm settled and established here, I will probably stay here. The cats are here now. More important than anything else, the cats have moved home with us. So it makes life a little bit harder for upping sticks. But now I am very lucky because I now work fully online. I can work from anywhere, which is great.
I think that's the biggest challenge that I've had, is to adapt to online stuff like this. But
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to get out on the road again. And I'm getting bookings even for my wedding side now. And getting
Brilliant.
back on show way down to Berwick, down the Kelso area next weekend. And then
Nice.
my own old hometown, Fort William, I've already got people booking. I only put it out last week, and I'm doing an event there. And we're looking at doing events obviously in Elgin and Aberdeen again. So I can't wait to get back out on the stage and have a bit of banter again. You know,
Yeah,
so
I
good.
haven't. I'm really excited about a few things I've got coming up when it's actually in person. You know, got the retreat, which we'll get a chance to plug a little later, but also just been invited to join a Beltane spiritual fair here. There's going to be one on Samhain in October, and then we've got the big International Women's Day Festival as well. So I'm really loving the fact that we're able now to start meeting up again and being able to do things in person. It's just so nice. Face to face is always just so lovely, you know.
I think that one of the things that probably, as we're talking about anxiety tonight, I've probably experienced, I wouldn't say panic, but quite a lot of anxiety when we're suddenly told, that's it, you can't do anything. From no live shows, I had no weddings, I was trying to be a travel agent to go with the weddings, that stopped as well. And I did at that time, I wasn't kind of like tech savvy as I am now and online. And it was a shock. And I had to practice what I preach. I had to deal with my own kind of anxiety and stuff. And I suppose you moving as well, we had to put into practice. And we're our own worst enemy. We don't always do that when you're a coach.
Yeah, and that's very true. And for us, it was a very fast move. You know, we were out from getting the news to leaving Dubai was 6 weeks pretty much to the day, because we had to sell our house, ship the cats, sell all our furniture. So it was a pretty stressful time. Came home and I slept for a week with the cats. We just bunked down. And yeah, it was tough, you know. It was a difficult time. And, you know, the more I speak to people and the more I see clients and I'm engaging with people, this whole last 2 years has caused so much anxiety, and people who didn't have it before have it now. Some of them, some people who've lived with it it's got worse, or people who were getting better have been plunged back into this uncertainty and all this fear, you know.
And now the question we've got tonight and we put on our subject was, can we overcome anxiety? And I always say to people, you can never 100% overcome it, because anxiety in some ways can be a good thing. Just like being nervous before we jump into that pool, or nervous when we're crossing the road. We get anxious, we get nervous. But there's a difference. We were talking about it earlier on before we came on, about the kind of, you're saying hypochondriac type anxiety, the kind of severe anxiety. And that's the anxiety we want to tackle tonight. And to me, that's like, I always say it comes from a learned behaviour sometimes. And if we can unlearn that.
It does.
Yeah,
for sure it does. If you've had a traumatic childhood, if you've lived in a violent family unit, or you've had a trauma that you've been through when you're younger, then that can be the trigger for anxiety, and that then is held in the subconscious mind, and it can get stuck there, and then that creates patterns. And with anxiety, I agree, it's not something like, you can't cure it, but you can overcome it to a certain extent. But it's part of the human psyche to feel fear and to experience fear. It's what keeps us safe, and our primitive part of our mind keeps us from danger. But what happens with anxiety is that perceived danger becomes the what if this, that, and the next thing may just happen, and that becomes catastrophizing. And then you start to avoid, and the more you avoid, the worse anxiety gets. So it's just this downward spiral that becomes very, very difficult to handle.
But we get into the negative behaviours because our coping strategies, like mine was comfort eating, being a chef who's loves to cook, and if I was anxious or nervous, I used to go and cook hundreds of stuff because it helped me relax it. But I ended up eating it all, so it was kind of it was kind of defeating the purpose. Or it's so easy to get into that addictive behaviour because of your anxiety.
Yes,
And
that's true as well.
the drink, alcohol, the drugs, the coping strategy when you're anxious, and that's what we deal with in our clinics and in our therapies day in, day out, isn't it? And that's the sort of general issues that we get in. And tell us a bit about some of your clients that come in and the sort of therapies you do to help them to overcome or help with anxiety, Suz.
So the clients I have are predominantly people who are dealing with things like social anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder. Of course, anxiety is quite a broad subject. You've also got health anxiety, OCD, PTSD. They're all part of that. But predominantly, it's the social anxiety that I'm working with and the generalized anxiety disorder. The way that I deal with it is I actually have a 3-step system. It's called the Calm, Confident Mind method. And what we do with that method is, it's very cool. We actually have a whole 8-week program that I can bring people into, whereby they get online support from me, they get coaching. I work with all the different therapies. So I'm a mindfulness coach, I'm a spiritual life coach, I'm a theta healer, I'm a Reiki master, I'm a yoga teacher. So what I've done is I've basically created from all of my knowledge, I've brought all that together into the 3-step system. So what we're doing is we're going into the subconscious mind, we're identifying anxiety triggers where the anxiety has begun, basically flicking that switch to the off position, removing the anxiety from its source or its core, replacing all the negative feelings that are related to it with positive ones, reprogramming the brain. Then they go into this portal where I have daily lessons for about 8 weeks that all work towards retraining and rewiring the brain, teaching them mindfulness exercises, how to breathe properly, how to use meditation, how to get their mind thinking differently and out the other side of anxiety. It's been really successful. I launched it in April of last year. And actually, I can see a couple of people that are on the program have joined us tonight. I won't mention their names. It's up to them to be the ones to actually say that, because I don't want to take away their right to anonymity. I love what I do. I really get so much joy out of helping people to come out the other side in a much more calm and confident version of themselves.
We did have a couple of questions before the show that some of your clients and some of my clients have put in some questions on the subject. And one of the interesting ones that I put up there is there a connection between anxiety and empathy? And I always use that in my spiritual development type thing, is a lot of the time when we are feeling maybe something and we're not sure where it comes from, and we're in amongst a group of people who are maybe nervous as well, or we've got a partner that's nervous, suffering from anxiety, our empathy will make us feel like that as well, because we're tuning into that person. Now, that's the difference. I feel, I don't know how you feel about that, empathy is totally different, and we can deal with empathy, a lot easier than anxiety,
What I think is absolutely, you've said, empathy is kind of us as empaths picking up people's feelings and energy and thinking they're our own. We don't necessarily differentiate between their emotions and feelings and our own. But empathy, I think, comes from people who are very sensitive. And I think that people who are very sensitive can also be people who have anxiety. And also the anxiety can stem from being an empath because they don't know how to deal with being an empath, because they probably don't even know that they are one.
Yeah.
That's what I reckon.
I think you're right with that. And, as a sensitive soul and being when I was younger, and I didn't know, obviously, a gift or whatever. Sometimes you call it a curse, Suz. It's not always a gift. Being so sensitive and picking up. But I always say to people is, you've got to say, is this mine or is it someone else's? Who does it belong to? And
And
I think
then
that's a
learning how
start.
to protect yourself, putting
Yeah,
yourself in that bubble so that you're not letting other people's energy into your personal space. That's really important
yeah.
as well.
And I've seen you get some really great comments there. You've got Arlene, who's in the program at Suz has made a massive difference to my life. And you
Yeah.
got Mary Ann, very interesting, helpful, thanks. And there's Carl there saying, obviously, I'm an empath. And I think a lot of us sensitives, you could say, it's like anxiety's always been a big subject with us. And that's why we chose it tonight. I get people anxious for coming just for a reading because they've never had one
Yeah,
before. And they get, and maybe things are
absolutely.
going on in their house or whatever, and the empathy side is. So is there a connection between anxiety and empathy? I would probably say yes, there is a
Yeah.
connection.
It's
But
sensitivity, isn't it?
we can't separate the two, though. I think as therapists, we can separate them and
Definitely
recognize.
you can. And I think it's important that you do, and that as an empath, you learn how to manage being an empath so that you can still feel, but not become overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, I think that's the key. It's not becoming overwhelmed because then that leads into the more serious side and into the
Yeah.
PTSD type stuff. And I've had, and I remember and I used to think it didn't affect me, the PTSD type stuff. And I was obviously offshore during the Piper Alpha times, and the Chinook helicopter crash came off my rig, and the Brent Spar helicopter
Right.
crash. The guy that replaced me died in a very next crew change. So
Oh my
that
God.
had a massive impact on me. And
Of course it did.
every 6th of July, when we were on strikes and all that and campaigning for better safety and all that, the 6th of July, we made that our anniversary for all our losses offshore. But it was never made official. But in my mind, it was. So every
Yeah.
6th of July, and even though it's 20 odd years, I felt low. And sometimes I forgot about it, but I had that feeling of being really down. And it was actually
Yeah.
my first Reiki Master who said, Derek, you've got the symptoms of PTSD. And I was like, no, I'm tall. I'm a guy. I'm fine. And then I took a step back
Perfect.
from it and just the mindfulness on it. I went, she was so right. And I managed to get help with
Mhm.
that and break it into little bits and deal with it. And in your program, do you kind of do that? Do you take it into little bits, some of the different fears, or how do you approach it?
So each week we focus on a different module. So the first week is very much focusing on the breath. I truly believe with anxiety, you're very much in the fear response and it runs in the background. When you have your phone and you have all the apps open and you leave them all running in the background and they drain your battery and everything.
Yeah.
So the fear response does that to your body as well. So you're in like adrenaline and cortisol, finding difficulty focusing, and you've got this nervous jitters constantly, and it just never goes away. And your body gets so used to that. So I really believe that learning to breathe in the correct way and telling yourself as you're breathing that you're calm and that you're also basically.
Oh, she's froze. It's like, well, this weather going on, guys. We just don't know. Hang on, see if we can get me back up here. We've lost Suze just now, so I'll let her come back on. And well, it's mad weather's going around.
Into that state of calm, then
Well,
you're.
sorry to interrupt you, Sue. You froze on the live stream. So you're still
Hello,
froze. I said, are you,
am I
are
back
you
now?
back? If you're back, you froze there. I had to step in.
Yeah, sorry, a big thing saying that there was a problem with the stream, and I realized that I better just stop talking. Where did I get to?
It was,
Breathing.
the breath, I think, as you say, is really important with me in our mindfulness. And there's Helen Murray. She's saying she's been down a bit lately. And I think everyone lately has been a bit down because we're not quite getting there yet. And I don't know what it's like in Aberdeen, but up in Elgin, we've had lots and lots of people who are getting COVID. Now, it is the milder version of what I'm hearing. And I'm not going into the debate of the whole COVID thing and all that stuff. But there is a lot of people getting it, and it's opening up that fear again.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah,
because they're actually
train us
getting
to be
it. It's
afraid.
a very mild form. It is like the flu now, and but they're putting people back in fear. I've got a lot of people been on the phone lately who have, I've got COVID, but the symptoms have been very mild.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's the
But
way it's going, and that's the nature of a virus, is that it starts by killing people. This is what we learned within theta healing, is that it starts by being really strong, and then it stops, realizes itself. It's not that it's not got consciousness, but it starts to evolve so that it doesn't actually kill its host, because it needs to be surviving, right? So I think that's why it becomes less potent as time goes on, and that's what we're seeing happen, thank goodness. You know,
I think sometimes, like very often in the past, in the winter time, if I get a wee flu bug or sometimes a bit of diarrhea or something, we're off that 2 or 3 days, and we're resting. And I used to catch up on the TV, do some studying. Sometimes I'm not going to say I enjoyed being ill, because no one enjoys being ill, but I did enjoy the time out. I did enjoy the time out.
That's because we're on the hamster wheel constantly.
Yeah,
You know,
and
we
I think
never stop, do we?
yeah, and I think sometimes we get ill for a reason, or to slow us down. Sometimes it's like pain comes for a reason, and I think that in a spiritual sense, if we get pain, we shouldn't just dope up with painkillers all the time. We should got to recognise the pain first, and we've got to kind of see to ourselves, what is going on, and where's that pain coming from? Is it mine, for example, or do I have to do something, or am I suffering from a loss or something I haven't dealt with? Am I grieving, for example? And some people can come out in rashes, Susan. You know that yourself. Can come out in rashes.
Only too well.
They come out and it's just purely anxiety and fear that causes that rash. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's quite scary at times, for some people.
Well, I was bullied in school, and that's when my eczema decided to take on a life of its own. And it comes back at times, not when I'm necessarily being bullied, because I don't allow that to happen in my adult life, but it comes times of stress, because it reminds me of being in that vulnerable position. And I think that that's what happened when I moved home, is that asthma, eczema, they're all kind of linked. And the first thing that happened for it was I started to get wheezy. I had to get inhalers, and then the whole eczema thing for me, and it's been a real battle trying to get it back under control. Beginning of this year, I saw you, it was really, I wasn't sure if I was even going to make it up to Elgin because it was so bad. But thankfully everything's getting back I wouldn't say to normal. I would love to say it, but I think that just involves getting back to Dubai. I need a trip back out to the heat and the sun. That will help.
Just looking at some of the comments we're getting there, there's Hazel there. It's saying, I started a new job and I haven't been processing the way they think I should be, so they've put me on a 4-week support plan, which has a couple of weeks left, and my anxiety is so high. This is quite common. I get this a lot when people come in for readings. They get their kind of trial period extended, and then they're totally in panic and more anxiety. And a lot of it, again, I think it comes to just relaxing and trying.
I think what's really important is what Hazel said there, is they've put her on a 4-week support plan, and that's a really important word. They're supporting you, Hazel. They want you to succeed. They don't want you to fail. It takes time and effort to recruit people, so allow them to support you, and that will help you to allow that anxiety to go down. Just trust in that process, and use that 4-week period to be supported, and just the more you're able to allow that support, you will relax yourself and the anxiety, and therefore be able to focus more and start to enjoy the job.
Yeah, it's true. I think we overthink. I think when we're in that kind of anxiety state, sometimes we overthink.
Oh yes, very much so. Yeah,
it's actually, we make it worse ourselves by overthinking.
Yeah, we definitely do. You overthink it and then you avoid, and the avoidance is the biggest thing. The avoidance is what causes more anxiety, whereas actually facing what you're feeling anxious about diminishes the anxiety. It's a bit of a paradox, and that's why it's such a hard thing to get out of, you know.
I've just I'm just drawn to giving Hazel a wee cosmic ordering card. I don't know why. It was just the pack was sitting here. I didn't random.
Cool.
And this is flying out of it. And it says, this is for you, Hazel. It's to order from the universe means to acknowledge that we can create reality with our own thoughts. Many of our unconscious thoughts grow like weeds, but clearly formatted constructive thoughts can produce orchards. So that's what's kind of backing up what we were saying to you is don't be too negative, see it as a support system, and it will produce orchards. So
Love those
even
cards.
Nice.
Nice.
You know, even Spirit saying to you, look at that lovely card there. It's don't panic. It's don't panic.
So nice.
Now, Helen,
what cards are they, Derek?
because they're ordering ones. I was looking at them for some inspiration for a blog I was doing. And
cosmic ordering. Nice.
I must have got them about 10 years ago. Because it's right into the positive thinking and cosmic ordering. And it does help when you're feeling anxious to kind of think forward rather than think back. And here's Helen saying, I've been down a bit of late, staying in a lot. I got anxiety and it feels sometimes suffocating at times, especially when around a lot of strangers. And in my I get a rash in the neck at times. I think with the COVID type stuff, Suze, I think we're all getting into that habit because some are just taking that step out. And obviously, Helen, you're a bit older and you've been sort of protecting yourself a little bit as well. And the health issues and stuff like that. And it's people are now taking that step out and they are scared. It doesn't matter what side of the fence they're on. It's still scary because they get so used to staying in, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, you know, being surrounded by strangers when we've now spent almost 2 years in isolation, that is a daunting thought. But equally, not just the possibility of these strangers maybe having COVID or whatever that you're trying to protect yourself from. If you're an empath, then you're going to be picking up on all of their fears and their energies as well. And that can be really tough to be able to deal with when you've just been in our caves, as it were, you know, and it's been enforced on us. If you're prone to anxiety and you don't want to go out anyway, and it's been a bit of a struggle, then being enforced to stay in for so long and then being told, oh, it's okay, you can go out again now, is actually not okay because it takes you so much longer to be able to deal with that again, you know. But it will be okay, and everybody will be able to get back to normal. Life will resume as well. I would like to say, I'd like to hope that it evolves and gets better than it has been for many of us, for all of us. But yeah, that can be stressful. So that would be where I would be advising come back into your breath and to use positive affirmations to be able to release any fears that come up when you feel like it's hard to breathe because there's too many people around you.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention the Carol there. It says self-love is so important. Spot on. It's like
absolutely right.
Thanks to us, and you know, I'll hide the other comment now. Linda's watching for the first time. Hello, Linda. I'm just see if we can catch up with the comments. It's like people are coming on. The subject tonight, guys, is anxiety, and we're talking about. If you get any questions, you get two really experienced therapists here, and Suze has been doing a lot on anxiety. It's been your kind of main subject since you came back, helping people with it, and you're quite passionate helping with anxiety. And I heard you're doing a wee women's wellness break as well, or something like that.
Yes, I'm very excited. I've actually got so much going on. So yes, let me have a little plug. Okay, 12th to the 15th of May, we are going to be up in Lairg, up in the Highlands. So from here, Aberdeenshire, it's about a 3-hour drive, but you know, you guys are a bit nearer up in Elgin, and I'm sure you have a lot of people up that way. But we've got people coming from Cornwall. We've got someone who's on with us now coming from Leamington Spa. She might want to say yes, she's coming, but it's up to her. And we have so much going on. So I've paired up with a really dear friend, Danielle. She works with women's wellness as well. She works with womb energy predominantly. So we're utilizing the concept of the full moon and how as women cycle. Our lives are very cyclical, and trying to bring that balance in. So we've got a fire festival, we're going to be drumming, we've got meditation, we've got yoga, we've got a sound bath, we've got 2 workshops, all plant-based food, which you'll be pleased to hear, Derek. All plant-based, and walk to a waterfall and into the mountains and up to the forests. So much, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. We do have a special offer on right now, so I hope you don't mind me just giving this 2 more minutes of your time, is just to say we have 2 twin rooms left. And the twin rooms, if you book a twin room with a friend, then we're offering a 10% discount on the price. So that price includes the full retreat per person plus the accommodation, and that 10% discount comes off after you pay the deposit. So there's a £95 deposit, it's non-refundable. If you want me to, I don't know whether I'm allowed to put a link on here. Am I able to? Maybe I need to send that to you to put on.
Paste it in the chat.
There's somewhere I can put it in. Where do I do that? I can only see private chat. No, it's only, it's just private chat.
I'm working into the chat. If you can maybe text it.
Wait, I'll pop it down. Maybe you can do it. So yes, 12:50. Excited.
Yeah,
I'll put your links here, and then you can.
Your links are on the.
Oh, okay, perfect. So the links are there. I don't need to do them again. Yeah. If anybody wants me to drop a link, pop me through a message. I'm sure that's possible. I think co-hosting. Find me, connect with me. I'll give you the details.
All your details are on the introduction bit on the shows. It should be there. Up at the top, guys, when we log off, it's all there. The link to your website and stuff. And I'm really chuffed that you're doing this, because I've seen some of your stuff and you're excellent. And I think there's not enough support for women, because I get a lot of women coming in. And just like Angela, who's been supporting a lot of women who are going through fertility issues or having issues when they're pregnant, and massaging. And she's specialised now in that area, because we've had people coming to us who are waiting. So I had somebody in today, actually, 2 years for a counselling session. That's just a counselling session. This is extra stuff, you know.
I think the thing that I can get on my high horse myself now, that's the issue that I find, having moved back here, is that people just wait. They just expect that they have to wait, and they don't do anything about it themselves. So whereas there are so many people. There's you, there's me, but there's also hundreds of people that are out there waiting to help if you just take that step and don't think, oh, everything has to be done on the NHS, because it really doesn't. It really does not, you know?
And there's Suzanne Lafferty, she's put up a question there. How do you stop thinking over and over about the past that you can't change? Well, that's the thing, stop thinking. Stop thinking about it. Simple.
Just stop, you know. No, seriously though, that's a lot of, you know, comes in with you know, fear, comes in with that regret, comes in with that, a lot of resentment can also do things from the past. We are not taught to process stuff, you know. So if there's been a trauma from the past, we don't know how to deal with it. It just sits in our mind, but it also sits in our body. And it just sits there, and we don't know how to get rid of it. So we just avoid it. We just shove it under the carpet and hope it will go away, but it doesn't. The most important thing to do is to actually process that. And I would teach you to process that through mindfulness. And you know, there's the first thing would be to say, yes, I am acknowledging that you feel a certain thing and that it is coming up for you over and over again. And then saying, okay, I'm acknowledging it. I'm not going to judge myself for feeling that way. And then just allowing yourself to sit with the feelings, acknowledging the feelings that come up, acknowledging the emotions that come up, and to say, okay, I'll let this go now. And just as you breathe, just imagine it leaving your body and just choosing to move forward from it. The other important thing to do is to recognize something like that keeps coming back, teaching you something. So what is it teaching you? Ask yourself, what are you learning? And when I say learning, I mean learning positively. And that's really important, that so you figure that out, because only then will you truly be able to let go of the past.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail there. I think, and I was joking there, but there is some serious things from people's past, and maybe abuse and stuff like that, as you say, bullying. But we've also got to bring in humour has been my key.
Of course you do. God, it'd be so boring if we didn't laugh.
And laughter, and I remember, I think you were at the same event, and there was a laughing yoga lady. And
No,
I
I
don't know if
wouldn't,
you
but
went,
I'd love to learn
well,
about
maybe
that.
you've seen a few events, but and I went outside. I'm going to see what this laughing yoga is all about, you know. And I went outside, and all I did was laugh. And okay, it was a
Good.
forced laugh, but you know what? I ended up laughing anyway, and I felt brilliant. And it's like
It's the best
that's all.
medicine
Laughter and humour is a great medicine, and sometimes you
for sure.
just got to let it out, not hang on to it. And if anyone's seen my little video, the F bubble, they'll understand that. And we've got to let go. Cal's come up here and said, um, I had post-traumatic stress for all my life. Sue's helped me to overcome it through various strategies and healing. My life has changed so much for the better. I'm a lot happier now. And it just proves when you ask for help, as you
Yeah.
said, away from the NHS sometimes in a holistic way, because we're all into holistic kind of ideas, and we're always growing and learning. Like recently, we've just learned the new bars, access
Yes.
consciousness bars, and you
Yes.
came up when I didn't know you'd done bars as well. So we're all like-minded. We all get drawn to things that can help our clients. And that is a really good
Absolutely.
one if you're overthinking. I think if you're really overthinking
Mm.
things, kind of bars can help reset the kind of mind a little bit. It doesn't take everything away.
And you
It's
don't
not
have
a
to even think
miracle
about it.
cure,
Yeah, and
but
there's no participation really required. You just lie down and accept the healing, and you just receive, and it's so beautiful. Love it.
and I think that's the key is doing something's better than doing nothing.
Absolutely. New word that has come to me from my Danielle, who's doing the retreat with me, is active participation. Yeah, I
That's
always
the
say
one.
take action, but I'm really loving that active participation. And if you're not actively participating in your healing journey, whatever that looks like to you, then nothing's going to change, you know? Or, you know, it's what's that thing they say about the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's
That's
also
it.
important to remember. Yeah.
I think that, and just on that, I have a lot of. I created a Patreon membership site, and I'm just putting it up there for some people. And over the years, me and you have probably collected hundreds and hundreds of data and information and
Yep.
skills, and I've put them a lot of mine online purely because of COVID, with plenty of time to do that. And I created a Patreon site for people, and they can go on there, and there's things on weight loss, there's things on anxiety. I've got some videos there as well, and also developing your intuition. And there's a lot of what I'm trying to say to people. There's a lot of free information out there as well if you do a bit of research, and
There
do
is.
research on things. Yeah, and there's a lot of really good websites on my links page on the Happy Medium website. There's a lot of like the Choose Life type links and all that as well. But there's a lot of charities out there that are there to help people as well. So if you are struggling a bit with finance and can't come and see us, we do charitable events, and we do I would say not
Yeah.
freebies, but we do give a lot back, Sue, and I know you do too, to help our
Yeah, I've got a
clients.
lot of different things. I have a Facebook group that's a support group for women who have anxiety. And inside that group, I have a whole bunch of things. You know, there's guided meditations, there's a little book thing that talks about little exercises that you can do to help you, diminish or help you feel less anxious and things. And yeah, so I'm doing a lot of stuff like that. There's also on my page, there's loads of live videos that go back over the space of the last couple of years. So there's sound baths. There's also a really good website. I'm not trained in CBT. I do have a lot of time for CBT, but it's hard to get. And it's really just working on the issues that you're dealing with now and teaching you how to cope with that and future issues. Doesn't really get into what's been and gone from the past that you need to really release, I believe. But there's a really good website called Mood Gym. I think it's Australian. It's free. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen Mood Gym. It's really
yeah.
helpful. I think that it's like it doesn't cost anything to subscribe to it, and it just takes you through little exercises to help you think differently. It's good.
And because I am kind of quite trained in that, I did mindfulness based CBT,
Oh, you did?
and
Good.
I really enjoy it, and I'm quite highly advanced in that now. And cognitive behavioural therapies, it's a long kind of tongue twisting words, but really all it is, it's like going back to my life coaching days. Well, still life coaching anyway, but going back to the original days is the learned behaviours and how we can unlearn them. And what CBT does is you're creating choices. It's like alternatives to what you used to do. And if you have a big list of them, right, and it's like, well, instead of going to the pub, I'll do the garden. It's like, and I remember it was actually, I was going to Weight Watchers at the time, Suze, and this is going back about 12, 13 years. And I really enjoyed going. And she said to me, right, Smurmouth vodka in Weight Watcher sense, or Scottish Slimmer sense, the points or checks, was worth 1 point. But if you walk to the pub, right, for 15, 20 minutes, you get 10 points. So
it's all about balance.
Right? And then I thought, well, if I have a Diet Coke or I have a water, I'm not using that point anyway. So I'll maybe have 2 drinks instead of the usual 5 or 6 I used to have on a Friday night. It's like, and I wouldn't touch a pint. That had something like 5 or 10 points. Now that process made me think differently, right? Because I wanted to lose the weight, and it started me looking at different types of things I could do. Instead of going to the pub, because I got into the walking, I would go out on the bike, I would go for a walk, and I would still meet more people than I met in the pub anyway on a Friday night. Because I was a single parent, I was lonely. Where'd you go? Go to the pub. So I actually slowly changed my way of thinking. So it's not a quick change, but the more things you put on your goodie list of what you can do, it's like you don't go and see a friend that's an alcoholic or that drinks a lot if you want to stop drinking, right?
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
you want to lose weight, you don't go see somebody who's cooking all the time. So that's what CBT does, is make you think about it a little bit more. So some of the stuff that we're dealing with anxiety, you can use the CBT systems because a lot of them are very kind of similar. It's just thinking differently and giving yourself choices. And it's not scary, it's not hard. People think, oh, CBT, that's really complicated and hard. It's not, it's just changing and giving yourself choices. That's all it is.
Absolutely. And making the right choices, and like you said, it doesn't have to be a big change. It can be a small change over a longer time,
Yeah.
Doesn't happen overnight.
And you think, because I think that's been a big part of it the last 2 years is if you think back in time, we all used to go to church, whether you believed it or not. It was this community thing. We all went to church. And then when the community pubs came on the go, or the social clubs, like you used to have the transport clubs, the Coleman's clubs, the Tory club, the Labour club, social clubs became the hub. And then they kind of died away because of the home shopping. People would take their drink home; it was cheaper, and this has been the now, and we've all got into this habit of eating and drinking at home the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So we need to undo that habit now, and move forward. And I think that's the good thing about us getting out and about, you doing your events, and getting people coming and we're communicating again.
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest cure. The biggest cure
to
anxiety, or
we need to hug. Hugging is so important.
I totally get that. It's still hard not to hug.
For sure. But from a chemical point of view, if you hug someone for long enough, you're creating oxytocin. That's your bonding hormone. And when you bond with people, you feel better, and we're so used to going into our little bubbles now, our little caves, and not doing that. And that's why we're all feeling isolated and alone and scared and unsupported. But if we get out there and start to get into these communities again, in whatever shape or form that is, and maybe the odd hug, it just really helps.
I think it's that the human interaction, and it's like now it doesn't have to be a human that we hug. It could be our pets, because the pet therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, the pet therapies, and this has become a serious subject within the holistic movement, pet therapy, because they are now letting pets into homes, into folks' homes, and they're now putting even kids in. Some nurseries and folks' home have combined, and they love having the young ones around.
Absolutely.
Some of the old people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of experiments there, and there's Marianne is asking, what are bars for overthinking, please? I've actually got on my website now, because I've just done the bars, a lot of information on bars, and I'm sure Suz has got a lot on that there, because you've done bars longer than I have. And it's a very simple 32-point technique. You lie down, relax, and we just touch certain points in your head. And your feet, but not very
Your
shortly.
hands, briefly.
In your hands. It's just letting the energy
It's
flow.
mostly the head.
You know, it's not like Reiki, and I will say it's different to Reiki healing or spiritual healing, but it's very similar in some ways. I'm not going to compare the two.
You're running energy. I think what it is that you're helping to release whatever. So each point of these 32 points has access as part of your consciousness. So anything that you've ever thought about fear or love or weight or aging or control or I don't know, I can't remember all the different points. I just gently holding them and releasing them. And then we have this really random clearing statement that we say in our heads, don't we? It's a very weird thing. It means nothing to anyone. But literally by doing that, it just helps to just not erase, but it clears out literally thousands of years worth of opinions or thoughts or viewpoint had on all these different consciousness perspectives. It's very interesting. I had an amazing experience the first time I did it.
I'm the same, because we trained in it, and Angela got it first, and I went, typical guy, and I'll put my hands up saying, what is this? You know, there's so many things that we've seen over the years that have not been as good as we thought, Suz. And we go along to this now. I got 3 treatments as part of the training, and I've never felt so relaxed. And I was quite stressed out before then over money issues, not getting out and about and stuff like that, and some health issues. And you know what? The clearing statement I love is, can it get better than this?
How does it get any better than this?
How
can it get any better than this? And the other one is, what else is possible?
And it's just like, no, even though it's good, you just keep saying it, and it gets better and better and better. And that's what's happened since I started using that clearing statement. You know,
I actually used that back when we were planning the last retreat. So we did a retreat, bit of a kind of a taster session to figure out whether we were going to start running these. And just before that, I'd put out this energy to the universe, basically saying, who is going to invite me to participate in running a retreat? And literally less than a week later, my friend Carol messaged and said, I've got this amazing house that I can use, and I'd love to have you on board to run a retreat. And I'm like, thank you. What else is possible? And you don't ask for an answer. You just wait, and the universe will provide the answer. So you're not looking to answer that question yourself. You're just throwing it out there to the universe. I love it. It's brilliant.
I think sometimes we've got in, and I get into the habit, being a chef and being an industrial chef and being an operations manager, planning was always a thing with me. But sometimes not planning and just going with the flow. The universe or people come in, it's just as good. I still think we've got to have some sort of plans, and we've got to work ethically as well. But sometimes you just got, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go with the flow and just relax. And not fear.
To your intuition, listening to spirit, listening to intuition, and just allowing flow to happen is very, very important. Love it.
I'm just, I'm pulling one, because we're talking about, you know, the universe. I'm pulling one of these cards here, right? And it says, the universe sees every single thought, your whole inner attitude, as a task. The more you're able to love life, the more reasons you do so will be sent to you on a daily basis. The more you complain, the more life will deliver you additional things to complain about. And it's so true. It's like when we say to the kid, don't spill the juice, what do? They spill it. Don't run in the run, you know, it's like,
do you know what comes, do you know where that comes from? The fact that the subconscious mind doesn't recognize the word not.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you say don't, can't, won't, the subconscious mind just hears the can and will and just continues with the same pattern. So you have to be so careful how you word things. You know?
I think that's important. I think when we're talking to people as well, and we forget this, and we both know it because we're therapists, is open questions.
Oh yes,
is
open
don't,
question.
and it's good just now because I've got the romance cards here. We'll pull some for somebody later on, right? Because it's been a
Cool.
romantic week, right? And I've had a lot of people asking for romance cards anyway. I think I've got them here somewhere, yeah. And it's like when you get out on a date or you get out to meet somebody, you don't just answer what we call a closed question with a yes or no answer. It's like, what, the whys, the wheres, and the whens is an open question. And you notice if you say, a yes, if you want a yes or no answer, the conversation stops. And I think we've got to have open questions and interesting questions when we're speaking to people and getting
Yeah.
involved in each other and listening to each other.
I think people always shy away from, I certainly used to shy away from asking people about themselves. We can't do my job if I don't ask people about themselves. So I learned not to be afraid to, but actually people love to talk about themselves. So if you have anxiety, is a good idea to have a little arsenal of questions that are open-ended questions that you can ask someone when you're meeting new people for the first time, because if you do that, they actually think, oh, this person's really interested and engaged. And all you have to do is ask one question, and the other person will talk. And it's such a helpful way of helping you to feel more confident when you're in like a new situation or in a something. It's a good tip.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously here's them, we're starting this fair. Are you doing any tarot reading? Well, we're pulling in the next 5 minutes or so, we'll be pulling some cards because both me and Sue are very intuitive, and we just wanted to start tonight because people have been suffering from a lot of anxiety over the last 2 years, Faye, and it's been a really kind of good subject to talk about. And when people come in for a reading, and over the last 3 or 4 days, there are quite a few people come in because we're now having people coming in. They come to me as a bit of a last resort because they're all stressed out. What do you see in the future, Derek? What's going on? Anything good going to happen? It's like, and I said, well, what do you want to happen? Then we'll ask the cards. And it's like, and I say to people, even on here, what's the answer to your question? Ask, and then randomly you might get an answer from one of the cards that me pull, right? And it's like when you say a card, if you say something specific, because we're being general, and it's the same when I was in psychic TV series. It's like if people ask me a specific question, like I can focus on that for the short time I've got, and give a bit of an answer or a bit of a guided or channeled information for that issue that they've got, rather than there could be 20, 30 different issues you've got, and I picked the wrong one, or maybe the sore one that should be discussed in public anyway. So, because we feel and we empathy, and just there's Linda asking as well, and we will say in just in 2 secs, just say card and we'll pull one. But if you ask us a little bit of a question, then we can ask it, especially if you've been a bit worried about things coming up, and we'll try and alleviate some of that fear by pulling a little card along with our thoughts, won't we, Lucy?
Sounds like a plan. I think we've got some more questions that I sent over to you. Do we have any of those we can do right now, or do you want to wait?
I think we're back to them. Sharon asks, how can I stop anxiety when in shops I tremble? It's embarrassing.
So that's a great question. And I think what's really important is that you let go of the embarrassment, because actually the only person who's aware that you're trembling is probably yourself. And I always say to clients, do they think that if someone was having a panic attack or some kind of a need to sit down because they're feeling extremely over anxious, people are not going to stare at you and go, oh my God, what's wrong with that weirdo? They're going to want to help. It's nature, human nature, to try and help somebody. Or if not, you walk away because you feel uncomfortable. But no one is really going to do anything to you when you're feeling that vulnerable. And I think it's really important that when you feel the anxiety when you're in the shops like that, that you go into that shop with the intention that you're going to be confident and calm to help you not be to be so anxious. And then using affirmations as well and breathing techniques. So just keep breathing deeply. Breathe only through your nose. We're taught in school, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I see it with everybody that I work with. And it's just like, it's in your brain. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's not. If you breathe through your nose only, you're to create a chemical in your body called nitric oxide, and that helps you to initiate the calm response in the body. So nice, long, slow, deep breaths in and out through your nose. And if you can, a longer exhale, but then we're starting to get into really technical. Just keep it easy. In for 4, out for 4, and affirm everything is fine. I am fine. And that will really help.
It's funny you saying that again as you were talking, and that was amazing. And it's like, it just shows the knowledge that yourself and I have gained over the years, Susan. And I'm always impressed. But when we get together, we're always talking about what we've learned over the years. And I want to say to people out there, Susan's got amazing knowledge of this subject of anxiety, a lot more than myself, because you've really focused on that, and what you're doing now is really important to a lot of people, and you're making a lot of changes. So highly recommend you. Now, the card I pulled, it's quite kind of funny that you're saying that. It's like, many people are unconsciously afraid that they would misuse their power if they felt too good, right? Or were too rich or too happy. This is not true. A happy person whose life is filled with love wants to share their happiness. Just what we were saying earlier on. And it's again, it's all in the card. And we're just seeing, we'll click on Faye here just to show, and because I know Faye, but we're not doing a tarot card reading, but you've got some magical cards there anyway, aren't you? Yes.
So I've
Yeah.
picked the Sacred Traveler Oracle deck today. I absolutely love this deck. So I'm going to do a card for you, Faye.
Say that again. The secret what? Traveler
Secret
card?
Traveler. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so they're by
yeah.
So they're by Denise Lynn. I absolutely love these cards. So Faye, yes, Faye. I hope, is this the right way round or is it back to front?
I
think it might be back to front.
Right.
Anyway, it says protected by angels. And it says you are cherished by the angels. So I really would like you, Faye, to just trust in that they're there to help you. We all have guardian angels in our space, and all we have to do is tap into their energies and just ask. And if there's something coming up for you need a little bit of support with, just ask your angels and they will provide that for you. Parking spaces are one of the things that you can ask your angels for, but other things as well. So you're protected by your angels and you're cherished by them. Love that.
And I'll put the next one up here. It's kind of good because when we put it up, they can always rewind if they've missed it and see it. And Linda Waters, any chance of a card. Now, just because I've got them in front of me, I'm going to pull another Cosmic Ordering card, Linda, because it's a subject for you. And the universe sees every single thought as your whole inner attitude a task. The more you're able to love life, the more reasons you have to do so, and it'll be sent to you on a daily basis. Now, if we had this card earlier on, the more you complain, the more life will deliver additional thoughts to complain. So I think you've had a lot to complain about, Linda, and what this is saying now is to let it go, right? And not procrastinate. And I'm being kind of cheeky because it's, look, let go of control issues and allow this situation to unfold naturally. So even the romance cards are backing me up on that card and thoughts. So Linda, we need to let me know what's been really bugging you, because focus on you for a change, not other people. And that's very common, isn't it, Sue? That people don't focus on themselves.
Oh, people think they shouldn't focus on themselves. It is so. Here's a rant alert. Rant alert. You're the only person that lives inside your body and inside your mind 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for your entire life. If you can't put yourself first, then how can you ever expect anybody else to respect you and put yourself first as well? It's so important. And I know as parents, we also, we want to put our kids first. It's not selfish to put yourself first. It's not selfish to take some time of your day for working on your issues or just on your own self-development. It's so important. It's vitally important. Yeah. Rant over.
Because there's so many people out there, and we're guilty of it. It's like, I've been mourning a lot this week about Aberdeen Football Club because they get rid of their manager, which they should never have employed in the first place, and typical football conversation. But then I started thinking, I feel empathy for that, guys, and maybe it's lack of understanding, a lack of training, maybe didn't have enough support. And I go into the kind of other side of it, there aren't. I said, because I
Yeah.
liked him as a player, stuff like that. And sometimes we overthink it. And rather than saying, well, you know what, I'm looking forward to the new manager coming in. And even though we're
Yeah, and
building
that's
relationship,
compassion, right?
I'm looking forward to that, to the new, rather than moan and complain. I'm looking forward to that, and it's a change. Now, there's Helen, and because I know Helen quite well, I see what you pick up on Helen. She would like a card, and I know earlier on she asked a question about anxiety and how she was feeling. So, see if your cards can shed some light on Helen.
Mm-hmm. For Helen, okay, I've got for Helen. Okay, all right, Helen, your card is unknown territory. It says you're exactly where you need to be. So if you've got something coming up, you're feeling a little bit afraid of, or stepping into something new in your life, then this is a reminder really just to say that don't be afraid of that, because you're on the right path. You're supposed to be doing whatever it is that you're doing. I'd love to know if this is resonating, so do put a comment if this means something to you. But I really would like you to just trust in that process and just know that you move forward into this unknown territory and do so with confidence, but in the knowledge that it's the right thing to be doing right now. So let me know, Helen, if that's
because I know
yeah?
what's going on.
Okay, you know her. I don't know her, but these cards are so intuitive. When I do my sessions, my intuitive spiritual coaching sessions with my clients, we do the whole session, and I don't pull a card until the end. And it's like the card at the end just sums the session up beautifully every single time. It's brilliant. I love it.
It does. And it's like, just on a development kind of thing, what I say to my students is trust in the message, trust in the cards, and don't worry about it, because I'm away to do a tarot card course for people, because people love me doing the cards. I've done it so long and the connection I have. And I always say the best person that can do the cards is not me teaching you, it's teach yourself. It's just pull a card, look at it, and put your own thoughts to it. Don't read the books until after you've done that. And it always matches the person or the thought that you're putting out there. And it's just like, I'll do Cal Middleton, because obviously she's one of yours, or he's one of yours. And see what I pick up, and I'm doing a wee tarot cards here, my wee pub pack. It's like, and here we go. Oh, this is about finances. Now it's getting good. Now we're not allowed to speak about much about finance because of the legal stuff, but it's getting good advice from a wise person, with finance. And you're good at giving advice as well, but you're not always good at taking it. So there's some mental health issues going on there, right? Because this is a strong card that you're going to master your mental health, because you're king of the swords, which is king of the metal, king of the air. You're going to master it. Maybe it's on your course soon. And there's the Empress. The Empress energy is around that, and that's the natural, it's a nurturing, it's leadership as well. And it's connecting with the feminine, and that's going back to the moon type energy around, because the Emperor is you'll see how they've got the little thing there with the moon kind of on it. It's reminding us of the connection to nature and how the moon affects nature. And then there's a miser card, so it's like spend on you and not on others. So maybe that's what the advice is all about. But I do feel I've got a date in my head. I don't often get dates when I'm doing this. And I've got the 17th of March. I don't know what day of the week that is, but there's something good on the 17th of March. And that's been channeled through. So we need to put that in your diary and let me know. Yeah. Now, I like this. We're getting a Pacific question now. See, people are learning. Can you see a career change for me? Well,
these comments, Derek. I don't know whether I'm seeing the same ones. Oh, Linda.
Aye, I put them up on the screen there. So, Linda Waters. Now, the good thing about that is, and it's getting back about tonight, is, she's asking because she's already thinking about a career change. So she's already started. She's put it out there. So I'm saying yes. I don't know what you're saying, Sue. If you want to pull a card as well.
Pull a card for you, Linda. Okay, so this card is watching clouds. This card says, lie back, rest and relax. So possibly there's a career change for you, but not right now. This is a time for you to take some time out for yourself, to just on you, focus on relaxation. And by doing so, you know, if you imagine clouds never stay static. They always, so if you're sitting there watching clouds, then you're allowing that change to just happen and to flow. And by doing that, that helps you to open your mind to what that career change might look like for you. But equally, I work with the concept of when people are at that crossroads in their life and not sure which path to take. And I would always say, listen to your heart. What do you truly want to do? What is your soul's purpose here on earth this lifetime around? So take that time to lie back, look at the clouds, to relax. Maybe not today, it's freezing cold outside, but maybe from your window, you know, and just chill. And that will help you to see more clearly what that career change might look like for you. And if that's something you truly want to align with, then you'll know and you'll be able to take that forward.
Yeah, brilliant. And I just pulled a quick card there, and it's like, again, it's spread your wings, it's put the feelers out there, and there's no clouds there, but they've been thrown into the clouds. so it's put the feelers out there, because we all change, but sometimes we come out of a bad situation into a worse situation because we haven't kind of thought about what we actually really want. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we all
and a career change is not something to be taken lightly, right? You need to think before you make that change, you know, because you need to make sure that's the right thing to do. And I think that's why you need to take some time to contemplate it.
And so thanks for that question. It's good to get that good direct question, because then we can focus our energy on that. So, but here's Helen, and the other Helen Gibson. I'm always getting the two of them mixed up. She would love a wee
because I can see Helen Murray's asked which Helen that card was for. That I'm assuming that card that I read was for Helen Murray. Is that right?
Helen Murray,
so it was for you, Helen Murray.
You know, she's definitely she's kind of commented on that already, so that's good. See what happens when we start doing cards. You get all the line down the kind of the side. Everybody wanting a wee card there, but we enjoy doing it. This is part of our giving back because we've got the time. But remember, the subject is anxiety. So if you're asking a question, you know, make it on kind of anxiety or things you're worried about. You want us to look forward for you, basically.
Absolutely.
So there's Helen, a quick card on kind of looking forward from one of your lovely cards there, Suz.
No problem. Listen, I don't know what's happened to your sound, Derek, whether it's just at my side, but you've gone all kind of rattly. So you just give me a second. I'm going to turn off my speaker and turn it back on again. Carry on without me for just a second.
I'll put this on there. Here we go.
You'll probably still be able to hear me, but I think it's just, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. I need to see my angels from the guidance. Yeah.
Come on, reconnect.
Yeah. So just on Helen, I'll pull a wee card for Helen then. We tarot card here. And are you going on a wee trip, Helen? Because I'm seeing you going on a wee trip and letting go and relaxing. Not to worry about that. And I keep getting the house card coming up, so it's decluttering, getting rid of, and all that sort of stuff about the house. Planning is planning for fun. I feel there's a big thing you plan for, something coming up, Helen. And put a colour card out. What's going to fly out here?
Yeah. I think it's your sound, Derek. I think your sound is rattly because I'm seeing comments come up as well. Is my sound rattly as well, everybody? Let us know in the comments whether it's a sound issue with the software.
Is that it now?
No. Still rattling.
I'm hearing my own voice on the other side, so it's changed.
Annoying. It's technology is always a thing.
Well, here's
apparently my microphone's fine. Carry on, will I?
If you do Heather Lane's cards, Heather Lane would love a wee card, and I'll try and start my sound.
Yeah, no worries. So, did you say Elaine?
Heather Lane.
Heather Lane. Sorry, my lovelies. Heather. Here we go. Heather, your card is ascending the mountain. And that says keep going forwards. So look, a mountain's never very easy to climb. You need a lot of stamina. You need to be taking your time with it. You need to be careful because, you know, there might be difficulty in the track ahead of you. But this card is a reminder that you're doing the right thing, and it might be a little bit of an uphill struggle right now, but keep going forwards because you will succeed. Whatever it is you're climbing that mountain for, whatever the end goal is, what's at the top of it is going to be worth it. So just keep going forwards, one step in front of the other, one day at a time, and you will get there. And just do it carefully. That's what I would say. Are you back with us, Derek?
I think so. I'm just changing mic. Is that better?
That's better. Oh, yes. Can hear you nice and clearly now.
That's it. Sometimes we do wee changes here. Yeah.
Gotta love technology.
That's it. I think it's just the internet's kind of weird just now with this weird weather we're having.
Oh, I know. And we've got some terrible warnings again, haven't we?
Yeah. Hope everybody stays safe.
So
yeah. I'm just trying to do this.
So Heather says that she's got a lot of family problems. Or you've had a lot of family problems. So yeah, just, you know, you'll get the other side of that. That will ease you, but just it might be a bit of a struggle, but just trust in the process and try not to get control, get away of that as well. That's not for me as well. Control was mentioned a little minute or so ago. And I think that that's important, that we let go of the things that we can't control or we don't need to control. So just allow, and things will start to better for you.
Yeah. I've highlighted Arlene Barston's comment there is, I barely go into a shop a year ago and wondered how I would ever work again. And now I'm working with 80% more able to cope in shop social situations. Progress is possible. And that's great to see you sharing that. So really thanks, Arlene, for that. It just gives
Thank you so much, Arlene.
Yeah.
Now, Arlene couldn't work when we first spoke, and within a very short space of time, she'd got herself a job, and she's just going from strength to strength. Arlene, you should be so proud of yourself because you're the one that's done this. You've taken yourself on this journey, and it's brilliant. And I've been so blessed to have been able to witness that. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
And just a quick card it's just the rest card, Arlene. So you're doing really well. Don't burn yourself out, and it's just take that a little bit step back. You've done so well. You need a bit of a break. So go and enjoy your break if you're going away on the weekend or anything.
Well, funny enough, she is.
Yeah,
she's coming up. I'm meeting her in Caithness. I'm teaching her Reiki.
Well, that's amazing. I remember the first time I got Reiki about 15 years ago. I was sitting there, and it was just a bunch of, I'll be honest, I'm not being sexist, just a bunch of lifeies sitting there talking about angels and fairies and what the hell's all that about. But look at me now, I'm a Reiki Master. So I don't dingy it. And I love Reiki and I love teaching it and learning it. It's a fantastic thing to do. But there's Marianne, and she's looking for one of your beautiful cards. So she would love one if possible. So I'll let you do one. I'm
totally laughing at Arlene's top comment. So do have a look. I'll read a card for Marianne. Anyone would think you were psychic, Derek. Brilliant. Okay, Marianne, your card is that you're at an impasse in life. So that means no going forward, no going back. You're kind of feeling a bit stuck. And it says what you need to do is reflect and redirect your energy. So that's the card. So this is really it's a kind of similar card in a way to the Watching Clouds card, in the fact that it's telling you to take that time to just stop and see what's gone before and what can you change in order to move forward. This card, if you can see, apart from the really cute squirrel, actually a brick wall that's blocking your way and you can't get past it. So it's trying to problem solve that, is to think about, by reflecting and then changing your energy, how can you overcome that block, whatever that block is going on in your life. So by redirecting and reflecting and redirecting your energy, maybe you don't need to try and go through that wall. Maybe there's a way around, or maybe you can get over that, and you're just thinking about that a little bit differently to be able to overcome whatever it is that's sticking. So taking some time out to just stop and think, ponder it, what has gone before, and what can you change in order to move forward.
Oh, amazing. I think it's...
I love these cards. They're just great.
Yeah. It just depends. I mean, it depends on their phones or their laptops or TVs even. If you're on Twitch and stuff, it was just a bit blurred on mine there. But the energy from these cards, I can feel them sitting here. They're amazing cards.
Yeah. They are. They're so beautiful. Yeah. I bought these. So I was coming over to do some work with, Louise Douglas, and I did some work a few years ago. And we organized a little workshop where we were doing little card readings. And I had actually forgotten to take my cards over from Dubai. And I had this panic going, so I'm doing card readings, but I haven't got any cards to read. That's really helpful. So I ordered them. I have no idea what these cards are, but I'm just going to see and hope that they're going to be okay. And they are, out of my 2 decks, they're the ones that I use the most. I have several decks, but these ones and the Earth Magic ones are my 2 absolute favorites. I just find them so easy to read, and they just give such perfect messages every time. I love them.
Oh, the cards. We'll need to get you. Come up when we'll do some group sessions up in the office. We'll get some cards.
I'm always a weekend away and a trip for
tea parties. And bring your cards. Good, because the tea leaf reading party is amazing. And we've got one coming up, I think, again in March, and we've got some private ones coming up as well. But the tea leaf reading parties, we do actually pull cards, but we get up where you're reading a card for someone else, so you get into the way of what you call scrying, and you're staring at the card, reading the card with its energy, and that's what we do. We're scrying at the card for the person in front of us. So when you come to read your tea leaves, when you find your tea and your scones and whatnot, you're already into the scrying and seeing.
I like that.
Your clairvoyance.
My gran used to read the tea leaves. I have a crystal ball that I scry with. I don't use it very often, but I do have it. It's just sitting there. I love it. All sorts of random things come up in it.
I've got a lovely one as well. It was given to me by my stepfather's brother, who was a medium. I didn't know till near the end of his life. He died quite young of cancer, and he left it in his will for me. And it's such a lovely energy, the crystal ball. It's in my office. Just getting back to some of the comments, because we're jumping ahead here. Donalda McLean, really interesting topic tonight. Thank you both. Thank you, Donalda. Helen Gibson says, I speak to my angels when I need guidance. They do hear you at times. Heather Lane, I'll pull a wee romance card for you in a wee minute. And Sheena, she's got a lot going on. I'm kind of just catching up with the messages. I see Arlene's message now. And thank you, Marianne. So relevant. Thank you. That's good. So we'll go back to, where were we? Heather Lane, is it? She was, who was wanting a romance? Heather Lane, is it? Hi.
And hello, Sarah.
I've jumped way half our head. I'll go back up. And Linda Waters still.
the same. All the comments.
Thank you. I love a card. Where's who's wanting the romance card there?
I didn't see that. How far back, isn't it?
How far? I had a lot of problem finding with expert. Sarah, well done, Arlene. Yeah, I went too far. I think it was him.
If somebody wants a romance card, let us know if it was you that asked.
I was here a minute ago. Where's it gone?
It is. It's Heather Lane. I would love a romance card, please.
Heather, excuse me looking.
Found it.
For random, I'll pull 2 cards here. Look at this. Oh, honeymoon. Looks like we're getting a honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss. It's time. Now, whether the honeymoon is just peaceful time together or something coming up, it's getting to know each other. So I don't know if you're looking for romance, but I do feel it's related to holiday or time away. As you reveal your intimate selves to each other, the bond deepens. So if there's somebody you're talking to, you need to be face-to-face talking with them now. And I know that, I'm kind of against these online chat-up things and all that, but how do you meet people these days in these kind of strange and weird circumstances? So be careful out there, guys, of some of these. I know a lot of people have been lonely, and especially it's been highlighted in Valentine's Day, how all these lonely hearts is. And, got to be careful these days as well. So be wary out there, guys. But I always say follow your gut feelings. If it doesn't feel quite right, don't go on a date. And there's the code word. If you feel threatened, you go up to the barmaid, and I think it's still Angela. You say Telegram. There's a code word. People, if they're out on a date and they're unsure or they don't feel very safe with a person, with male or female, they can go up to the bar. I think it's the word Angela, because I always remember it because Angela's called Angela, and there is code words there you can use.
Nice.
Because I have had people come in that have had a dreadful time going out, or they've been so anxious and nervous about going out on a date for the first time, and I've counseled people to do that. Yeah. So be safe. That's all I say to people, and let somebody know where you are,
Yeah, always.
So
we didn't used to have to worry about that 30 years ago, did we?
Oh, I remember, and I don't know if people in Aberdeen are about. It's like before the mobile phones, we used to say, "We'll meet at CNA's." It's the crossroad street in Aberdeen with
CNA's, right?
And it's a big CNA stories with it. I'll meet you at CNA's, and then
everybody met there.
The phone went, and the phone box is outside, right? You had to go and answer it because they might be running late. But everybody knew that phone box phone number. It's weird that. Is there a so-and-so waiting for so-and-so? Oh, she's late.
Those were the days.
And it's not that long ago. It's only, you're talking about maybe 15 years or something.
It feels like a very long time ago.
But it just shows you how things have changed.
Helen says there was 3 phone boxes across the road. That's right, where all the statues are. That's right. Well, my dad, I don't know if anybody knows that my dad was the local artist, Mike Robertson, and he did the paintings, Tuppence to Hazelhead, looking down past Union Street with a tram car, looking past Victoria Restaurant in Jemison and Carey. And then the other one is looking the other way across Union Terrace. And then there's one at the Castle Gate as well. So that area is hanging on my wall in my dining room. That was actually painted. Yeah, there was phone boxes in that day, though. It was a while back. I'll have to check. Maybe they're there.
Yeah. So just kind of summing up on tonight. So if you had one word, right, or a sentence or paragraph, whatever, to say to everybody out there on anxiety and the thoughts of tonight, what would it be?
If you're struggling, take action. Do something about it. Don't suffer, because it'll only get worse. Get help. Get help. There's my 2 words.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to.
That's what I would say as well. And I always say I've got the song, always look on the bright side of life.
Yes.
I've got that in my head just now. Always look on the bright side of life. So
absolutely.
There's always something to smile about. That's
there is. And if there's not, you still smile anyway, because fake it till you make it. Because if you smile, I posted about this on my Facebook the other day. When you smile, you're setting off chemicals so that you actually start to feel happy, even if you don't feel happy when you start smiling. It's inbuilt into our psyche to feel happy when we smile.
Yeah. And just like to say thanks to you, Suz, for coming on, and hopefully we'll have a more group event, or we'll have you back on here. And I really enjoyed the chat tonight, and it's been a really special subject, because I think we've all suffered in some form from anxiety over the last 2 years in different forms. And as you say, we're both therapists. We've both got skills that can help people out there, and there's lots of people that we know if we can't help you, we can signpost as well, Suz, can't we?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, the thing that I can help with, if Derek is somebody I can post you in the direction of, or someone else, we'll both probably know within us, between us rather, loads and loads of people that can be the right fit for you. And it's not about keeping it all to ourselves. That's not what we're about. I know Derek feels the same way. And what it is most important to us is that you guys get the help that you need.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing, is there's no ego when you're a therapist. It's all about how we can help the person in front of us. Because if I have to send a client to you because they want a female, or Angela next door or something, it gives me it gives me a lot of joy because they're going to get the help, you know.
Well, the thing as well, it gives back to you, because everything that goes around comes around, you know. And I think as well, that's what, to me, that's what it's about. And there is plenty for everyone. That's what I believe.
Yeah. And everybody's saying thanks,
Thank you
Sal.
Lovely comments, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get you back on soon, and we'll kind of make this maybe a regular, because I try to develop a regular chat show. It's been difficult because people's availability, and you know, there is some amazing people wanting to come on, and we are mastering the technical side. It's getting easier.
We only had a couple of glitches tonight.
That's it. And also me and Angela are going to come on, and Suz, I know with my help and whatnot, you'll get your own wee shows going as well, and we'll certainly all help each other and stuff. And we know so many people that we can have 3 or 4 of us on. We can invite on. We know so many therapists that they're so different and funny and unique is the word.
Yeah,
I would say.
Absolutely. Everybody's got their own thing that they can bring to it as well, you know.
Yeah, and I'd love to get that laughing yoga lady on that I met. I need to go and find her.
Find her, get her on. That sounds amazing.
Put it out there. We've already met her. We'll put it out there.
Definitely. Yeah. What else possible?
So I'll speak to them in a minute, but I'll say bye to everybody out there.
Sending everyone blessings and gratitude. Thank you so much, Derek. It's been great fun. See you all soon, hopefully.